Hi, this is Rita Shortridge with another paranormal things that's been happening in my family's life. And this one's about death too. About 25 years before my mommy died, she had a dream that she saw 3 wreaths in her dream. And she just assumed that one of them was for her mother and one was for her, but she didn't know who the third one was. And then she saw her and her mother going across a bridge. And she said Grandma went first and she went right behind her. So that's why she figured the wreath was for those, for her and grandmother, but she didn't know who the third one was. But anyway, Grandma fell and broke her hip. She got real sick. And we all expected her to die. And I was sitting up with her with one of my aunts. And she kept telling us, turn her to the left. She said, turn me toward him, turn me toward him. And she called his name, and it was her son-in-law, but I won't say who it was. She kept telling us to turn her toward him. Well, the next day, Grandma died, as we expected. But what we didn't expect, on the next day, the son-in-law died too. And so, he had been sick, but not enough to where you would think he was going to die. And so we just figured that that's what Grandma was seeing his angel. Well, that's one death story. Now, another one is about my brother and his wife. He worked in the coal mines, and I had a dream, and I saw a wreath on his door. And I went up there and I jerked it off his door in my dream. I said, that's not going to happen. I was crazy about my brother and my sister-in-law too. Well, then I saw the wreath again, only this time it was on his car. Well, I went and jerked it off of there, and I said, nope, that's not going to happen. And then it appeared in a tree, on a tree right across from his garden that was at the bottom of the road. I went down there and I pulled it out, and I said, nope, I'm not going to let it happen. Well, it wasn't too awful long after that, my brother swapped his car to a truck. And he said, well, now I know your old dream won't come true, because I swapped it to a truck. Well, I thought, boy, I sure hope not. And then I moved to Rogersville because I was expecting a baby, and I wanted to be near my sister. Well, anyway, one night, I had another dream, and I saw my sister-in-law. And she was lying in a coffin at a morgue, and she kept telling me, she said, come up here and wake me up. I'm asleep and I can't come awake. She said, your brother and another sister-in-law of mine is up here watching me and looking at me, but they're not trying to wake me up. Please come and wake me up. Well, I didn't know what it meant, and it worried me. And the next day I told my family, my husband and my daddy, what happened. And then that morning, a car pulled in, and it was another brother, and he told me that my sister-in-law got killed last night in a car wreck, or in that truck that they had traded to. And so she got killed, and it made me wonder, could she have prevented it? They swapped the car to something else. So that, in that case, I don't think they could have prevented that one. Well, that was another dream. And then I had another dream. One of my nephews was with a woman, and they were having a baby, and he was real happy and she was real happy. And I had a dream that the baby died after he was born, and I told him, and I don't know if he believed me at the time, but then it happened. The baby was born, and it just lived maybe a few days and died. And then I prayed. I told God not to show me no more dreams. I didn't want to tell people stuff, and it was scary. And I haven't dreamed anything about coming to pass in a long time, except, well, when I had my babies. When I had my babies, I couldn't get pregnant, and I prayed and prayed and got people at church to pray too for me. Then one night I had a dream, and I heard a voice, and it said I was going to have a son. And it told me what to name him, and it was a Bible name, but I won't say who. Well, then I went to the doctor about 5 months later, and I was 5 months pregnant, they told me. Well, then I came home, and then I went back to the doctor, and they said, no, it was negative. I wasn't pregnant. But I kept believing I was, and I was. And so I had him, and I was naming him a Bible name, and I thought, well, it's such a holy name, I don't know if I want to name him that or not. And the night I was having him, my daddy had a dream, and he sent word by my sister to tell me that he had a dream and I was supposed to name him that Bible name. And so there was 2 witnesses, so I named him that. And the dream also said he'd work for God in the latter days. Well, he's not working much for God now, but I'm holding God to that promise. I believe he will. And then when my other son was born, I was sick for a month, and I didn't know I was pregnant. In fact, I didn't think I was. And I went to the doctor. I thought I had the flu. Well, he did a test on me, and he said I wasn't pregnant. And he said if I wanted to get pregnant, I needed to have surgery. And so he scheduled me for surgery. And then 2 nights before the surgery, I had a dream. This time I saw Jesus. It looked like Jesus. And he told me, he said, you are pregnant. And said, name him a Bible name, and he'll be a boy. And said, if you have the surgery, both of you and him will die. And then I saw another dream the same night, and I was lying on a cot, and I was bleeding to death. And it said, when you see this, and the doctor was running around waving his arms saying, I don't know what else to do for her. And the voice in that dream said, when you see this happen, if you don't call for prayer, you'll die. Well, I told my sister about it, and she knew a clinic that was open on Sunday, the Adventist clinic, and my surgery was scheduled for Monday. So I called on Saturday and canceled my surgery, and went to the clinic on Sunday, and I prayed, and I told them what I dreamed, and they did an ultrasound, and they said, yeah, you're 2 months pregnant, and the baby looks fine. So then, see, God saved my baby's life. And then when I went to have the baby, it was a big baby. But anyway, his umbilical cord had grown into my placenta. And they had to cut it out, and I was bleeding to death. And they brought me up off of the stuff it's go to sleep with, because to bring my blood pressure up. And I saw the doctor waving his arms around and saying, I don't know what else to do. Her blood's not here yet. I don't know what else to do. And I remember my dream, and I told him, I said, have my husband to call Daddy and tell him to pray for me. If you don't, I'm going to die. Well, the doctor told my husband tried to call Daddy, but for some reason, he couldn't get a hold of him. And so the doctor said, well, we'll pray yourself. And he had everybody at the hospital to say silent prayer. And he told them why. And then I lived. I lost 9 pints of blood, but I lived till the rescue squad bought my blood. And so that was 2 dreams that come true. And now I've learned to listen to dreams if I have any. Thank you.